part.
If I knew it was part before when I've eaten it.
Some people said, yeah, well, you know, it's part of a cow.
I understand the point, you know, but to me it doesn't make it less attractive.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Because I'm a meat eater.
Others have spat it out. The secret ingredient is beef heart. What do you think?
Cheers, mate.
Or run off screaming.
Oh my God!
You happy with that? She wasn't happy with that, was she? But you know, won't do her any harm. They're totally legal. Just. The truth was, most people seemed to quite like my barely legal burgers, at least until they found out what was in them. I had to accept that advertising the ingredients was never going to work, but I was determined Batley's economy burgers didn't go uncelebrated. Oh shit, I pulled it too tight. I thought if Batley's economy burgers announced themselves as barely legal, they'd get the recognition they deserved. So, I devised them a marketing strategy. Look at this. Look at this. What do you think? Barely legal burgers. Look at my BAPs. These are the BAPs for a barely... I've not worked out the exact way of saying it yet, but this is a very significant part of the campaign. Whoa!
Look at me!
Oh,
Look at me!
Goodness. Look, I can't... My goodness. Nice BAPs. Yes, great. You are 18, aren't you?
Yes,
Yeah.
over 18.
Over 18, good. Yeah, because... I've just lost my thread. But I was going to say, looking good. Shall we crack on to the burger place?
Right, let's go.
Great, come on then. What we're doing is we're going to this big cash and carry company that sell these burgers, and we're coming up with a new advertising campaign because they are on the legal limit of how much beef you can put in.
Yeah.
We're saying, you know, shout about it. Make it into an asset. Don't hide it. Let's say these are barely legal burgers. That way they seem more edgy, they seem more exciting. It's sort of like, yeah, ooh, it's a bit naughty, isn't it? It's a bit naughty. And when we get there, part of the advertising is a song. So let me teach it to you. Batley's economy burgers are barely illegal. Batley's economy burgers are a barely legal treat. They're a cheeky mealtime treat, a cheeky mealtime treat. If you're not that keen on beef and want an organ between your teeth. They're a cheeky mealtime, but it is an organ. It's the heart which is an organ. Yes.
Gosh, I can't believe that.
Yeah, 21% beef heart. Would you eat a burger like that? No. We'd arrived at Bestway, not only the place where you can buy the Batley's economy burger, but the actual company which owns Batley's itself. The lawyers wish me to point out once more that these economy burgers are legal and do comply with food standards regulations. Me, I thought barely legal had that covered, but anyway, I've said it now. Who would like a free lunch? Batley's economy burgers, a tasty mealtime treat. Batley's barely legal burgers, edgy, dangerous, different. In fact, we've got a song. Batley's economy burgers are barely legal. Batley's economy's burgers are a very legal treat. A cheeky lunchtime treat, a cheeky mealtime treat. If you're not that keen on beef or what Batley's are up your street. It's work in progress. It's going well. Bestway, come and speak to me. I have the answer to your burger promotional needs. The Batley's economy beef burger is barely legal. We take our hats off to you, but why not shout it from the rooftops? Batley's barely legal burgers. Sounds a little bit naughty, doesn't it? And the young people up and down the land, they're rebellious. They want to look like they're a bit cool. Hey, you, what are you eating that burger for? It's 100% beef, that's rubbish. Get one of these. It's barely legal because I'm a bit of a nutter. I mean, you could rewrite the song. You could do one a bit more. When I get a burger, I want it to be barely legal. See where I'm going with that? Yeah. Hello. Hi there. Alex Riley from the BBC. We're basically doing an advertising campaign for the economy beef burger.
Do you have authorisation to do this?
We've spoken to the PR person, but...
And he's given you okay to do this?
Well, no, he said he couldn't set something up, so we thought we'd just come down and just have a chat about it, basically. But we're saying that, you know, it's 47% beef, which is the legal minimum. It's something to be proud of. Sorry. It's the barely legal burger.
Sorry, but I've never asked you to determine what's next to me.
Are you sure? This is... All right, thanks very much. Blimey, Nick. You must be freezing.
It's kind of cold.
Let's have a group hug.
While you look at some completely irrelevant cows wandering through a quiet housing estate, let me read you the message Best Way sent me. Our research confirms that there are beef burger products with the same and also with less beef content available legally in the UK. The product in question represents about 7% of its manufacturer's production run of products with the same specification, and is popular with caterers, including burger vans, who are looking to provide food to consumers at a certain price point. They also said their economy burgers contain more beef than what's printed on the box. Now, I don't want to be pedantic, but let me assure you I'd been to every major supermarket and the top 5 cash and carries, and there was no burger to compare. I was back on the lookout for more disgusting meat when I happened to get a steer from Chef Ramsay.
What in the fuck is inside the lamb shank? And how long has that been cooked for? For a dish never to be refrigerated? That's all chemicals, isn't it?
Chef Ramsay was getting very irate about some Australian lamb shanks. They appeared to be a clever way of passing off cheap cuts of meat as a gourmet meal and contained a fair few chemicals.
Do you feel like having a shit? Thank fuck I didn't eat it. Sugar, flavourings, colour, E, 150D, fuck me. I'm surprised you haven't fucking killed off half the population in Oakhampton.
Chef Ramsay had even coined a neat phrase for this phenomenon: shit in a plastic bag.
When you bought that shit in a plastic bag, you tried to...
Mr. Riley had a new inspiration: gastropub favourite, the lamb shank. As a cut, the shank is cheap, and coming from a tough muscled area, it requires a lengthy period of cooking to avoid it being completely inedible. But these Australian babies can be microwaved in just 9 minutes and can sit in a box for a year without refrigeration. Brilliant! I had a tip-off that Australian lamb shanks were on sale at a popular cash and carry.
Check that.
The reason that it wasn't me going in was because me and Booker had history.
You got permission to film?
I've got permission to wear the suit.
You got permission to film?
Have you got permission to film?
No.
In my last programme, I'd come up with an idea to help Booker promote their rather watery chicken breasts, but it hadn't gone according to plan. Now, I wasn't really welcome.
Oh, look at this. Australian lamb shanks.
With Australian lamb shanks in my accomplice's undercover hand, the next step was obvious. A trip to see Ian, my local food technologist.
A well-known television chef put us onto these. And the brilliant thing about this is the shelf life. Look at this. It's 1 year, and you don't actually have to put it in the freezer or even the fridge. It's room temperature. Yeah. Leave that. A year later, put it in the microwave. Bob's your uncle.
It's the wonders of technology. They cook it till it's more or less sterile, add the necessary preservatives, and any flavour that may have been lost in the processing, you are allowed to put back in. That's a flavour enhancer that's used especially for meat E631.
So basically, the process to actually make this sterile so that it lasts forever is going to take the flavour out of it.
Oh yeah, but you're allowed legally to put the flavour back in. It's falling away from the bone.
Probably here in this country, we'd say that was technology going too far. But those Aussies, bless them, you know, they've pushed it to the limit. It tastes very good.
It seemed perfectly right for Chef Ramsay to take against the Australian lamb shank, but then I remembered something about the place it was being sold.
I've opened the catalogue for Booker, and who should be in the front but celebrity chef Mr. Gordon Ramsay.
Not only was Gordon in last year's Booker catalogue, Gordon Ramsay Holdings had a consultancy agreement with Booker. With Chef Ramsay not having the best of times in the paper, and before anyone had the temerity to accuse him of hypocrisy, I thought I'd better let him know he could be on the verge of another PR disaster. I called his people.
It's Alex Riley here from the BBC, and I'd like to speak to Gordon Ramsay, please.
Well, he's actually out of the country at the moment. Simon.
I've got something that I need to tell him, basically, and I think he'd be rather interested to hear it. If you can pass on a message, it's regarding, I don't know how to say this really, shit in a bag.